Hi, welcome to the Legacy Wealth Podcast. I'm Stacy Pingree, founder of Radiant Financial Group and this amazing Legacy Wealth Podcast. We are so excited today to have a guest with us that is not only trailblazing in her own way with her, building a business with her husband, but has grown a substantial company and really done it with the concept that greater success comes by not so much by working harder, but by and longer, but by and sacrificing more, but by being smarter with your systems and your time. So Naleka Gomez.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. So excited to have you here with us. And I've been wanting to have you as a guest for a really long time. You and I have run across each other quite a bit in different circles. But I would love to just start out with you just kind of telling how you got in the business and what brought you here.
Yeah, I'll kind of give it full circle. So I was a stay-at-home mom actually for about 8 years. And then our kiddos started getting into school and like first and second grade. And I was at a place where I'm like, okay, I'm going to start getting back into the field. I'm going to start doing something here. We had my entire family is just nothing but nurses. So I was like, that's what, the field I'll go in. That's the path I'm going to, choose. And then I ended up getting in connection with just through a random friend, Joshua Smith, who, if you know him, he's like a juggernaut in the real estate business. Yep. And he ended up hiring me on the back end as his transaction coordinator. So that's actually how I started. I was a TC for the first couple of years. And then I was on the back end seeing what all these agents were making. And it was literally just blowing my mind, especially coming from being a stay-at-home mom. Oh, yeah. So I was like, I'm going to get a license and I'm going to do this thing. So got a license and just kind of came out the gate swinging. I was number one on his team every year. We ended up kind of growing our own team to just about 40 agents, which then led myself and my husband, who's in the business with me. We do totally separate things, but we partner together in it. So that led us to go ahead and open our own brokerage. So we actually ran our own brokerage for about 2 years. Definitely came to find out that was not the path that we wanted to, go along and really how we wanted to run our business. We had created a ton of freedom and we can go out I could leave tomorrow for a month and be completely fine in my business. So when we opened the brokerage, that really took a shift and we're wearing every single hat and you're spending a lot of money on overhead on just a lot of different things. And then you're having to oversee all those things. So that ultimately led us to partner with the new brokerage that we're at over at EXP with the Wolfpack, technically is who it's through. So that, and we've been over there, I would say maybe a year and a half at this point. We've grown our team to just over 230 agents and we're just kind of rocking and rolling.
I love that. I mean, that is just such a huge move. And you guys market with It's a Breeze Real Estate and EXP, so under ESP as a brokerage. I think it's incredible. EXP's got an amazing model. So you're able to scale. I mean, talk to us a little bit about, I talk to so many agents and real estate enthusiasts, let's call it enthusiasts, that want to learn more about how to, I guess leverage time, leverage their time freedom, because it's really legacy, to me is like having this kind of, it's creating time freedom. I mean, if you're working harder and longer because you're making more, you can get in a hamster wheel pretty quickly, right? Especially in real estate, because you don't want to say no to opportunity.
That's
right.
Yes, exactly.
So how do you scale those systems, and how did you and your husband figure out that was his niche and this was yours?
Yes. So a lot of trial and error for sure. So, and I think we definitely started in the age that was like grind till you die, wake up at 3 a.m., live in the office. Or that was like the cool thing at the time. Yeah. And we kind of bought in for sure at first. And even our kids were at the office with us and we were just grinding away. I will say that is hands down what built the foundation. I don't think there's any way to create and grow something without putting in those late nights and that stress and the hard work to it for sure. But after a couple years of that, our kids are getting older. We're like, we're not going to miss this time now. Stack up, save money, keep up with the Joneses to do all these things. And then our kids are old and gone. And we're like, cool, now we can go do these things. We're like, we're going to switch this up and we're going to do this right now. So we ended up just kind of, you got to take a quick step back, which can be very hard in your business to, kind of take the time to focus on it, because you're always so in it. It gets really hard to kind of see it from above and then put things in place that are now going to allow you to have that time freedom. So a couple first things we did, I've got partners and assistants. We use VAs. So putting people in place to kind of give you that dollar back per hour for, the things that you can do. Something that I think we hear a lot more now, and something that stuck with me is, if you're washing your dishes, what are you doing with yourself? If you're making X dollars an hour, you should have somebody else come in and do that. Employ other people, right? You give to others as well, kind of, spread it around by doing things so people can now come in and be a part of your your life and your business, and it helps them as well. Don't just kind of gatekeep it, right, and stack it up. So that's the first thing we did. We started really hiring people, and we have just over a handful, so not a lot. I do not want a lot of overhead either, a lot of other people now that I've got to oversee. But with putting those people in place, it allowed us to now work on our back end systems. So I've got showing partners, so I don't go do any in the field activities whatsoever. And that's really the main thing that allows me to be anywhere, anytime. We structure that very specifically because especially with high-end clients, you could lose them very quick if they feel not taken care of, or like the service isn't there, if they're being passed off. That's kind of the number one thing, agents feel like they can't pursue that time freedom because they feel like they have to do every single thing in their business. It's got to be you. Yeah. That was me for sure. And like the release of things I felt was so hard, kind of, like I said, taking that step back to let other people do the things. But having mentors and people that also help me understand, like one of the principles that we kind of learned from is people are going to do things at 80% of what you do them at. And if it was at 100, they would just go do it for themselves. So if you can kind of take that step back and properly train people on your systems, you have to be so clear on your process and what you are doing and what you expect from them. And people actually want and appreciate that. They want to be led. They want you to tell them specifically what to do. So along with getting, help at my house to kind of do those day-to-day things, then I can work on my business more. We then implemented showing partners, which gave me so much time back. And now I have a very specific schedule. Whenever I'm flying up for a showing, I'm not on the weekends getting calls to go do things. Everything is very systematic. And then the VAs that I spoke about, they run everything for our social media. They oversee our leads. They're in my right now. My email is getting attended to while I'm here. It's not going to stack nothing. Everything will be, as I leave this podcast here with you, there's going to be nothing that's backed up for my work. Everything will have kind of flowed through. So those all together have really just as an overall, kind of system really built a place where now we can do whatever we want, whenever we want. And we've got systems, and most importantly, our agents and our clients are getting taken care of. So that was kind of like a lot of information, but it's a lot of little moving parts.
I mean, I'm making these mental notes of like things I got to talk to you about afterward. I really love this because this is, even with the advent of AI, you're putting people in place that are still responding in a human fashion. Are you using some AI tools? Obviously, you must be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm one of those. I'm like obsessed with Claude, like everybody else. So I don't use it, I would say, at like the highest level that I know it can be used to. But even that, and one of the things that I love and I love to share with people is you don't have to be doing these things at this crazy high level that you see other people doing, and you're watching one specific field that they are dedicated to, and you think you need to do all these things. You need to do what makes sense for your business so you can grow it. So I love Claude. I use it very heavily. Our VAs use Claude. They need to be very efficient as well. And obviously there's things that can, replace some of the things that they're doing, which is perfect because then we can just give them more things to do, which then grow our business. We've built out and we updated recently so many of our processes and systems through Claude to where everything is just like the click of a button. And what that does for me on my side is for our agents now, the level of service they get is just, it's amazing. The trainings, they are so good. We put so much time into really building those out. And then obviously the AI platforms made it so it's very easy for the agents to use. So now, like for example, questions that I would get consistently or things that I know they could, use some help with that could take things off of my plate. There's all in the trainings now, and I had AI build them out. So, love it. Love me some AI.
Are you using video in that too? Then are you using video for the trainings, or is Claude just doing trainings?
No. So definitely using video for sure. So it's a combination of both. So I use more AI to kind of build out the systems. I just like brain dump very specifically, and then I tell it what I need so it can just organize everything that's going on in my mind. And then I put videos with it so that way it's very specific. And if you're learning from us or going through those trainings, it's very black and white. Like it's to a point where there should really be no questions because everything is a full overview. But I jump in there still. I do videos for sure.
Yeah, no, it makes it. Well, and you're pretty active in social media, and that you use the tools that are out there, right? Why wouldn't 100%. You? It extends you to a broader audience. And what are your? Did you see yourself becoming an entrepreneur? Like this is very entrepreneurial. So obviously, real estate is in general, but like, what did your husband do before?
So no, oh my gosh, we lived in a completely different world, and I definitely will attribute like a lot of my like opening my mindset to Joshua Smith. Like there were so many principles and things I learned, books you start reading that completely change your mind. My husband and I had some crazy childhoods. And so we kind of like, came up with a totally different mindset about money, about life, about work. And
so you had to shift. I want to go. I got to go a little deeper here.
Yes, girl, go.
I love, because to me, I think that, we were talking right before we started filming that, I said, when people make comments to me about like they got down a rabbit hole with the podcast, like, I have this small little podcast that's just, I use it very specifically with clients because we're very passionate about creating wealth with, real estate and legacy wealth. And, so when people call me and they say, hey, I was able to see Maria and I saw her video, and it was like, I know you've been saying it for years, but man, when I listen to her story, so I want, like, this to me is like really, I'm passionate about this. How did you figure out you needed to shift your mindset? And then I know, so you get around people like a Joshua Smith, you're giving credit. Love that. But what did that take? Because I'm always curious. Tell people what you did to really get your mind. It's not easy.
It's definitely not easy. I feel like we had to kind of like overcome everything that we were like programmed with growing up. I will say though, we definitely, my husband and I, gratefully so, were very much on the same page of like, we knew there was more, we wanted more, but like we just didn't know like what it was or how to get it or really how far off we were at the time. So he was in corporate America for a long time. He literally quit cold turkey, and that's how we kind of jumped into all of this. Okay. But reading books, as I know it's kind of minor, it's kind of 101, if you will. Yeah. That did so much for me. Because,
what were a few?
So this is kind of random, but You Are a Badass was really helpful. I love that one. Yeah. Nothing to Gain, Everything to Lose, anything by Ryan Blair, I just think is so amazing. That's where I learned some really amazing business principles, in the sense of when you're in business, you're going to have like wrenches thrown at your shins constantly. And those of us that could just keep sprinting, like that's who makes it. It's not like you're in business and it's easy and things come to you and it's just going to happen. Yeah. You have to like get out there and fight for this, and it will be hard. And there's going to be some times where you feel like you need to quit. And there's going to be times where everything you built falls apart and you're going to have to rebuild it. Like, are you going to commit and do that? Because that's what this is going to be. Yeah. So those books really helped me. Darren Hardy. Oh my gosh, I love Darren Hardy. Even his little Darren dailies, like a 3-minute text message you could get, is amazing as well. So those principles really started opening our mind. And then, not to be all like foo-foo, if you will, but the Power of the Mind books, I tell you, when you scientifically realize like what you are doing and putting out there is literally affecting what is coming back to you, it's like a whole wavelength change, right? So all of those things kind of compiled, and then just being in the right rooms, talking to mentors. Like, that's one thing I will say too, that I think people get away from. A lot of the 101 ways to grow your mindset, to grow your business, to better your life, they're all the simple basics that have been around from day one. And that's all you need to do. Just focus on those basics, read some books, get in the right rooms, and then implement. Don't go home and be tired and not want to do things. You then have to shift that muscle in your mind. Yes, take action. And it's kind of crazy. So your brain, the way it works, so you want to go to the gym, right? And you're like, hey, I'm going to go to the gym today. And then you just keep thinking about it. You're like, gosh, am I going to go? Should I? And then you don't go. That neural pathway, that muscle in your brain literally strengthens. So when you next time are like, hey, I want to go to the gym, it's easier to say no. Yep. So if you flip that and you're like, hey, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the work done. I'm going to get on this training, even though I worked all day and I'm tired and now I need to do this also. It'll make it so the next time you make that decision, it strengthens it and you now choose that easier path. So that, to me, I don't know. I love all the mind work of like how we are just like a robotic machine, and then I can program myself accordingly. Yeah,
your brain is looking to interpret the message. It's saying, what do I do with this thing? And then, okay, I guess we log it. This is what we do.
Yes.
I'm super obsessed with Changed Mind by David Bear. And if you haven't, I have the book. I'm going to hand it to you on the way out the door. Yeah, because he has been like that podcast. I've listened to the book. He has a podcast. He's got I've read the book. I've listened to it. It's same thing. Like, there's a framework for reframing your mindset, and so people that need the tool to actually take that next step further. But I just think mindset's so important. We talk about it a lot here, but I think that's like a big thing. And it's also, it sounds like you're leaving within people, like the people that work on your team, your own family, I'm sure, you're leaving within them like the power to make these changes for yourself. That's the legacy part, right? Like, I love it because you're not just leaving something for them later down the road. You're talking about it right now. You know, you're bringing it, you're acting it right now, and you're making it happen in your life. So I love that.
Yes, definitely. I think too, a big part that I like realized getting into this is a lot of the conversations we have with the agents are not based around like, how do I do this with my client? How do I go to a showing? It's all about like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, I'm having this situation in my family. Hey, I'm struggling, you know, in this area. I don't feel like getting up and doing the work. And it's so funny because you know what it's like on the back. Some days you're having the hardest dang day of your own life and you're just like, you can do this. You're amazing. You know what I mean? But that's, I think a lot of what it is, like you're just kind of reinforcing that mindset in people. And that's what I think is one just amazing thing about this business is I think it does really shift a lot for people. Like if you really get yourself in the right space to be open to this business and the things that you can learn and the things that it can do for you, it completely can change your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it can be a lonely business. We talk about that quite a bit, like, you know, being out here and to try to make sure that you're still being collaborative and, you know, maybe not with competition, you know, but it is, right. Yeah. There's just a lot going on in this business. And I think your perspective on, you know, staying optimistic, staying positive, staying enthusiastic, like, you know, those are the things that you can hand over to people that are working on your team. It's like, cause they're going to be, you know, I had a very high producing agent, you know, like 52 deals last year type, you know, agent. So, you know, high production, call and say like, I'm just really struggling. Like every listing conversation I'm having right now is just like draining me. And I've been on this little thing where I'm sending him like, you know, little Instagram, you know, I don't know, something I took off Instagram that was like motivational, but it seems like nothing, but he's like, you have no idea. Like I needed that today, right? It was just, so those little tiny things when you get to know somebody, this is a human business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And exactly. So it's like people, you know, getting to know how you can impact people is really, I think, the power in it, you know. Having all these systems is great, but like it's still that it gives you time to do this.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm jealous of some of these things because we're implementing some stuff right now that is going to help me. But I mean, I like CEO title or visionary leader of the company title is like, you know, chief, like I always say that, like enthusiasm officer, right? Like I've got to bring the energy to the meeting no matter what, you know?
Exactly,
and so anyway, that's a big thing. You mentioned traveling and going, or, you know, leaving town and doing all these things. Tell me about that. Like, so what does your ultimate life look like?
Oh, my ultimate life. I think about this all the time. I cannot wait. So, and life's great now. So very grateful at this point too, but I cannot wait. So I am just going to live like a nomad. I cannot wait to just live a couple months here and a couple months there. I want to own like 4 shirts and just like travel around, nothing to be responsible for. So our kiddos, our son goes off to college here this year. Okay. Our daughter is going to be a sophomore. So we are going to wait obviously a couple years to look, you know, good and comfortable. And I'm obsessed with them and I need to be close to them. So I'm hoping we could, you know, they'll obviously come with us and we'll figure those things out. But in the next couple of years here, it's definitely pretty close on the horizon, all things considered. We're going to first go off to New York for 6 months. And then, like I said, I'll just wherever we feel like, wherever I want to spend Christmas that year, that's my goal. I just want to kind of travel around and wherever our kids are, I want to be there for everything and just able to, anytime they pick up the phone or like, hey, this is happening, or hey, come out here, just immediately we will be there. And that's kind of like the goal of, you know, the lifestyle that we want to live. I think also, you know, in creating the systems to make sure that when we do that our agents and our clients are still just serviced at such a high level that it doesn't even skip a beat. That's definitely the, you know, the goal and the path we're on as well. But ultimately that's what I want to do. I just want to be able to be anywhere, anytime, and just be free and not look at my phone. Social media, I'm so incredibly grateful for, but I cannot wait to not look at that thing another day in my life. So got some plans to, you know, step away from it, if you will, because of what we've grown, knowing that everybody is going to get taken care of.
Yeah. What, you know, let's talk a little about that, about like your current business. What is your current, you know, do you have an area that you specialize in?
Yeah. So because we've got the team, we go literally anywhere. We'll go up north, we'll go far East Valley. And then I personally am in the West Valley. So we do a lot out there, pretty much the Litchfield Park, Waddell, Surprise, Peoria, with this kind of like the little pocket that I stick in. But we really go everywhere. When I first started, so now we've got these things in place. At first, and this is kind of also a little bit of what drove us to do what we needed to do here to build this, is I was missing things with my kids. I was leaving before they were waking up in the morning and I was coming home after they were asleep at night. It was 7-day-a-week insane grind to get off the ground, like what we then kind of kept snowballing. So that also was what it was. We'd be at birthday parties together and I would drive separate because I needed to leave to go to a showing. I would go to the city of Maricopa and Buckeye in the same day. It's 2.5 hours in traffic. Like I did not care. I was like, I will be there. Oh yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Oh yeah. The amount of miles on my car during those times was insane. I'd put 80,000 miles on in a year, easy. So at this point I do like 20. I mean, it's just mind blowing the difference in it. But a lot of that too was the reason that kind of drove me to be like, okay, we've got to do something different here. So I used to go all over, and at first, like, I didn't care if there was a live body who wanted to purchase a home, I would be there. Now, yes, we're a lot more specific and particular. However, we don't care the price point. I don't care what your credit is. I don't care how far. If you are wanting to do something, we are absolutely here to help you. So we also have the team, obviously, and we help people if you need to work on things or build things. It's not, like we just pass on by any means. But I am definitely a lot more specific on the ones I take at this point, just to protect my dollar per hour and grow things.
Yeah. Well, and you've got a team. I love the idea of also sharing leads with the team, right? It's a huge value add for you guys. So to that end, are you are open to taking on agents on your team? Right?
Yes, actively. We take on agents. So my husband, I work in the business and I do all the deals. I do the transactions. I'm hands-on with the agents. And then my husband, who's been in it with me since day one, he is the back end who does all of our recruiting. So he full-time. And I know people recruiting, you're not supposed to maybe say that anymore. People say attraction, all these different words, compensation, commission, all these little things, right? They want us to change and say differently to, appeal better. But that's what he does. And that's his full-time job. So he is just talking to agents consistently to bring them onto our team, because we do genuinely feel like we've got a good system that if you plug into this and I tell agents exactly what I've done systematically to close 70 plus deals. I don't care the market. I don't care what it is. I do it part-time, and there are very black and white things, very simple things. A lot of them are tedious and, they're not things that are super exciting and fun to do, but they are very specific. And I tell the agents like literally what I am doing in real time to get business. So that's also one of the things that we try to help and pass on. Yes. So that way you can actually get in and be successful in this business.
Yeah. I mean, because the failure rate is like incredibly high, right? I mean, I can just tell you from my database.
Yes.
How many?
Everybody fell off.
I think everybody started using, all the tools now to see what everyone's production is, and so it's good and bad. Right now, the specifically high producers get probably, 40 phone calls a day from annoying loan officers and other recruiters. And I mean, it's our business too, right? Like, if you're producing, you're getting targeted every single day.
100%, yeah. So I tell people, you got to take it as a compliment.
Exactly. It's positive, right? We're putting out the good stuff. But it is funny. I mean, my whole team gets recruited. I mean, they send me text messages and we're like, funny. I mean, it's some of it's like ridiculous, like wild.
The ones that are like 7 paragraphs, I'm like, do people read that? Like, that's how you know you're a good leader, though. They send it to you and you guys just laugh together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you think to yourself, I'm like, yeah, it was a pretty good point in there. Maybe I should start using that.
That's hilarious.
No, but I mean, I've really been a fan of, I've been a fan of organic growth. You have to get yourself in front of people that are going to have a like-mindedness. And so organic has always worked really well for us. Like and I think you can be small but mighty, which it feels like you guys have a very similar, just in all the research I've done on your business, you can have a growth mindset, right? But be very focused in how you do business, be very focused in how you train people, be very focused in like what your message is and your clarity on your, roles. You said it earlier, right? Like what people do. As a leader, I mean, I love this questions like, I'm going through this with my kids right now on a particular thing where I said, my youngest daughter's into theater and she didn't get a big role that she wanted in an audition. And I was like, well, you fail forward, right? Like, I mean, take the role, do the thing, just take the role because you're going to learn something from it, but you can have two attitudes, right? So as a leader, how do you help people? We talked about the level of maybe people that don't make it in this business. How do you help them keep stay focused on what do you believe in that? What was the biggest mistake? Whatever happened to you? What's the big failure that you guys have had? Share something like that. I think people love to hear that.
No, absolutely.
It hasn't all been winning.
Yeah. Oh my Lord, no. Yeah, that's why this is so hard, right? For sure. So, and that's one thing, and I'm so guilty of my pages are a straight highlight reel, right? You're not seeing the days where I want to go cry in the shower because they totally happen, right? It can be really hard sometimes.
Totally.
But I think that mindset, and even so, your question about speaking to the agents and kind of how we help them through those times as well. I am very kind, very compassionate, whatever we could do to help and build up. But I am also no BS. I can't can't stand, I don't do the excuses, like the poor me, and I will help through that, right? We're not here to, make anybody feel any kind of way, but ultimately, like a lot of times we're like creating things to be bigger problems than they really are, or agents, the stresses they, make themselves feel in the transaction. I'm like, no, you're here to guide this. Here's what you're going to do. So I think just giving specifics on like, here's what you need to do to handle this at this point, while also just being very straight up. Like, this is not how we operate. This is like not what we are going to do. Like, we can have a couple sad minutes here, but like, you got to pull up your big boy pants and like, we just got to do this. You know what I mean?
Cry it out hard and fast.
Exactly. Yeah. Have a vodka Red Bull when you get home, but right now you got to get through this deal. So like, that's kind of more so our mindset about it too. How we teach our kids. And that's one thing that I think has kind of kept us moving forward in it. We have, of course, like we've lost 7-figure deals before. Obviously that hurts a little bit. One time it was literally due to the company who did our first sale signs. Like, so things that are totally out of date. Somebody got sick, didn't show. And then they were like, hey, if you can't even get a sign up, don't do my listing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like little, right. Especially when you're like, oh, so you start getting into it. We had a brokerage that we had to literally decide like everything we built and put in place and these employees and everything we have here for this brokerage, are we going to literally pull this plug and cancel all this and close this down and fully jump ship? This is where my husband and I are, it's a very good like yin and yang. Yeah. He is very methodical. He will run through all of the pros. He will dissect all of the cons like nobody's business and, sit there with all of them. And I am like I will jump immediately before I even like see the next thing. I do not go. So I knew, I'm like, yep, brokerage done. Like, excuse me. Yeah. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. That, this is, from here, what we want to go ahead and do. But it was a matter of kind of like ripping off that Band-Aid and, kind of pulling that plug on our own company and then going, a different avenue, if you will. Yeah. So I feel like, some people too would ask their husband, like, is it different for you guys? Like, how do you feel closing it down? And I think like from the man's perspective, it's like always a little different. I couldn't have gotten rid of that thing faster. Like the overhead and the problems to run that at this point, like at this day and age, it just didn't make a ton of sense anymore. So we've definitely had some ups and downs for sure and had to make some, pretty big decisions to pull plugs or, kind of go one way or another to continue the growth the way we have it now. Yeah. Well, and EXP's created such an incredible platform, right? So you guys don't have to mess with it's a foundation for you to build on. Instead of you having to be the sole carry the whole thing on your back and all that. Yeah. I love that. I think that's really awesome. How did you guys come about? Like what I can hear in the passion, obviously, for the business and the passion for, helping people and making an impact. How do you guys implement, I'm always curious on this too, but like culture? How do you, what do you do as a team? Yes. Okay. So I think that too is a huge factor, especially more than ever, right? People care about, kind of that camaraderie and the, kind of that relationship to it. So we do a bunch of different things. So we do kind of all like the standard brokerage things, if you will. We do the media days, we do events, we host things together. If they have something going on personally, we send things. Like, it's also that, like you said, it's a person to person business. We do a ton of the trainings are just, obviously, in my opinion, very consistent, but very, very top tier to the information they can get. Okay. So we really are actively just kind of inconsistent engagement with them to give them things and tools and things they can utilize, while a little more behind the scenes, like knowing kind of what's going on in their life. Do they need anything? But tons of team events, tons of media days. We do our favorite kind of activity with the team is to do something that's not like a sit down learning thing, but we'll have stations and we'll have somebody there to record content and then kind of chop it up for you and send it over to you. We'll have somebody there to give information on different AI tools that you can go ahead and implement. So we try to make it a little more workshop as well. And those are kind of more so the things that we do by also, I think, keeping in consistent communication with them, because you kind of will feel your people doing that too, right? Some will fall off a little bit or they go a little quiet, or you can tell something kind of changes and you're like, they've got something going on. And it kind of cues you up more to kind of, be there for them, which I think ultimately as an overall picture really builds up the culture because they feel cared about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They feel seen and you're connected to them. And then accountability. Do you guys do coaching as far as like the coaching is concerned? Do you We do. So we've got a couple different options depending on what you want to do agent wise.
Yeah.
So I know some way that's operated, for some teams is it's very specific or kind of job like, if you will, like office timing. And I some people love the structure, and that's awesome too. And we've got agents who also love that structure. So we've got things that if you are looking for more of like a black and white, somebody's going to be checking in with you, and here's what you exactly. Yeah. Then we do have more of like a one-on-one setup. So you can be on one-on-one Zooms. You can get that one-on-one attention. We've got like a separate team that it's a lead given team. So it's a lot more black and white. Like you show up here, you do this training is mandatory on Friday. So there's certain things,
skills, like the actual skills.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So there are certain specific things like that, but outside of that, it is very much like you need to have some hustle and some wherewithal, and the rest we could teach you.
Yeah. When you do you talk to your team about creating wealth in real estate? Do you actually have these conversations with these guys? And
I do feel like that's something we could honestly be a lot better at. And I've seen some people kind of talking about that more lately too, and kind of bringing people in for their team and talking about that and investment strategies and wealth strategies, things to do when you have an abundance of money, like where should you be putting it? So I do feel like that's something we could for sure be better at, and something that I've seen kind of more people step into.
Yeah, I love it, because I do feel like, a lot of times the real estate agent, the loan officer, like we are in this business, right? We sometimes walk the talk, but not always. And then, like getting the foundation built for all this, but it does give you a platform, and like it gives you the opportunity to not leverage just your time, but also your money and your assets and all this. But I think, also just like it's the mindset. It goes back to the mindset. Like if you believe it, you can sell it. And if you can sell it, because if you're doing it, you've seen it, you've seen it work. So the proof is there for you.
I agree.
I love that part of it. What does legacy mean to you? Because we talked about, this is like kind of like you've nailed it. You covered like everything that I wanted to talk about. You literally went down my list. I didn't even prompt you. But I was like, but I was so excited to kind of hear what you've done with your team. But what does the legacy aspect of it mean to you? What do you want? You've talked about, I know you're going to be a nomad, which I do love, but what does it mean to you and your family?
So specific to my family, and that to me is definitely what more so like the legacy kind of correlates down to is, to keep it very simple, like I want to have instilled principles in the mindset of my children that they are out there just being amazing in the world and helping other people and giving to other people, and they are just whole. They don't have a childhood they have to heal from, right? Yeah. So that's my number one most important thing. Mm-hmm. And then being able to, like, we all have, family that needs help and people that are in different positions. So being able to just freely help others and not even think about it is definitely just where I ultimately want to be. As in, and maybe this is like a little sidestep to legacy, if you will, but as in like the impact we want to make or what we want to do, I would love to ultimately just open up like a children's center, not a daycare, not a foster care, nothing like, not an orphanage, but a center for children. Like if you don't have a home, you don't age out, you don't go from place to place. You literally have one home that you will live in, and that's in a, obviously a major center that it would be, but then you have people that are there for mindset, people that will help with job placement, just things that I think would ultimately make such an impact. I'm like, I would love if this was like a 50-year study in like a city, and you could see like the impact it would make on people if all these kids actually had a resource or somewhere to go. Because that's something that kills me. And then when the kiddos, the way that, not to go sidestepping on it, but the way the system is, when you're placed back to back to back with all these random people, and then when you turn 18, you're just out on the streets, and then you're expected to have a good mindset or live a life that is going to be upstanding. That's crazy. So there's some things I think that we could also do to like really build up the kids, and then just ultimately leave like I said, a bigger impact on things as a whole, rather than just kind of like our own circle.
I got to connect you with a couple people that we've had. Like we had one on the show that's really big into CASA and like a lot of the stuff that's going on with the foster system. So I make a connection for you guys to talk. Yeah. I love it. I love that. That is super impactful. I know we're doing an event. There's an event for kids coming up.
I'm about the kids, I tell you.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't know how much you really were until we've been talking here more. But we're doing an event. It won't air. I guess the event we'll put it on our social media, but this will be out after the event is happening. But it's for backpacks and like all the school
clothes,
stuff, right? So
everything,
everything, supplies that are needed for kids that don't have as much as our kids.
Yeah,
probably.
Really, yeah.
Naleka, thank you so much for being here. It's like we wrapped through 35, 40 minutes of talking. It was so nice. It was amazing to talk with you. I'm so glad you shared so much of your story and all about your business and what you're doing with your family. And it's beautiful.
Thank you. No, you're so inspiring to me. So thank you for having me. And it's been fabulous. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And for those of you watching, we're going to put all of the contact information for Naleka Gomez and the EXP team, the It's a Breeze real estate team. But we'll put that all together in the show notes below, and you can catch up with her there. Thanks so much.